Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of the ages, welcome back to another reaction. So much excitement going on in the DC world. We get the new Superman, all the last movies were good. You had the Black Adam, Shazam. I don't know how you felt about it, but I liked them. But, there was always controversy with the Superman movies and the Justice League movies with the Zack Snyder. And now they got a new director, James Gunn, and people are in an uproar. Will DC fans ever be happy? But anyway, today we have Zack Snyder is suing the DC for $9.5 million for compensation. Why? If your contract was up, then your contract was up. If they broke contract, then okay, they pay you the rest of your contract, maybe with some interest. But let's find out.
There have been several different iterations of Superman in the decades of superhero television and movies. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. From Christopher Reeve to Henry Cavill to Tyler Hoechlin, many notable actors have taken on this iconic role. Veteran director Zack Snyder's and actor Tyler Hoechlin's takes on the role of Superman during a similar situation showcases the creative difference. Premiering in 2021, Superman and Lois is a drama show following the life of Tyler Hoechlin's Superman and Bitsy Tulloch's Lois Lane. The show found worldwide fame and critical acclaim for its varied take on the role of Clark Kent and his family. And not just actors.
First thing I want to say is this video is... I don't know why it's just showing James Gunn. I don't know. Let's hear the story anyway.
But each director had a different vision for the character of Superman. Arguably, Zack Snyder's vision for Superman in Man of Steel was quite controversial. However, the CW show Superman and Lois have taken a different approach. Cars and farmhouses are eroded and decimated. However, Superman and Lois showed one thing differently than Henry Cavill and Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. In the CW show, John and Jordan Kent, the two sons of Clark Kent, fight alongside their dad against Doomsday. The recently released Season 4 Episode 9 of the show, titled To Live and Die Again, featured an iconic battle where Lex Luthor's Doomsday gives a reign of terror to the town of Smallville, where Superman belonged to. Was the year 2013 when Zack Snyder released Man of Steel. Starring Henry Cavill in the lead role of Clark Kent aka Superman, the film followed General Zod's invasion on Earth and Kal-El defending its residents. The decimation is limited while John and Jordan Kent also showcase their selfless side as they help civilians and shops get out of harm's way. In the end, the trio ends up fighting the Kryptonian monster together. The attack on Smallville was also created by veteran director Zack Snyder, however his version was closer to reality. Being the first entry of Snyder into the DCU, the film gained much traction and a fair share of controversy. In the movie, General Zod carries out an attack on the town of Smallville.
I'm not getting a lot of this, but we'll continue.
Similar to Superman and Lois, but there is one key difference in both versions, with Zack Snyder's vision being closer to reality. Superman fights General Zod alone, raw, without any support or any proper experience/training. The fight is pretty brutal as Smallville gets decimated alongside loads of destruction and explosion. This key difference of an untrained Superman fighting General...
Yeah, General Zod and Superman, they fought in... destroyed the city. I guess that was Gotham. I'm not sure if it was Gotham or not, but it was destroyed.
Zod in his hometown, without any backup, makes Snyder's vision a bit more closer to reality than Tyler Hoechlin's. Although opinions differ, the two versions are equally different and equally entertaining for millions of viewers to watch. With high ratings and worldwide fame, both Man of Steel and Superman and Lois are available to stream on Max in the US. Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon director cuts were a result of some savvy negotiations with Netflix. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Zack Snyder's time with DC may be a thing of the past. However, he continues to work on epic franchises, with his original creation, Rebel Moon, having seen the release of 2 movies already. The talented director has every intention of converting Rebel Moon into a space opera franchise.
So there was a lot of movies that he's done for DC that I didn't know he did. I think he did the Suicide Squad. I'm not sure. If I'm wrong or right, just let me know in the comments. or I'll look it up. Whatever happens first. But anyway, I think there was movies that he's done, that James Gunn has done, that when Zack Snyder was still doing the Justice Leagues and all that, James Gunn was doing like Suicide Squad and all that. And now James Gunn gets a Superman movie, a full Superman movie, and people are in an uproar. I don't know. Some people just don't like things that change. You know what I mean? Me personally, I don't like things that change. It depends on what it is. But I'm excited for the new Superman.
Much like the likes of Star Wars and Star Trek. However, what sets his franchise apart is the fact that despite the two movies not getting an R rating, they have received respective Snyder cuts that are full of gore, violence, and everything else one can expect from an R-rated franchise. Regardless, as it turns out, the talented director had to undergo a fair share of negotiations to make his Snyder cuts a reality. He revealed that it was a barter between him and Netflix that allowed the two movies thus far to have both a PG-13 version and an R-rated Zack Snyder version. In an interview with Real Blend Podcast, Zack Snyder discussed the reasoning behind the director's cut and how it came to be. He explained that Netflix, although not burdened by box office concerns, sought a version of the movie that would appeal to a broader audience. This led to the development of a more commercially viable PG-13 version with a runtime of around 2 hours. Well, there was a conversation around the rating and the runtime where they felt like we could make a slightly more commercial version of this movie if we kept the rating to PG-13 and the runtime to right around 2 hours. However, this commercial cut wasn't the movie Snyder had initially envisioned. Known for his darker, more mature themes, Snyder had written Rebel Moon as an R-rated film.
So, they tried to take the Marvel approach with the movie when they did the theatrical version, or that, I think it was Josh Whedon that comes in. They brighten the colors up, they change the colors, they put a little more comical to it. And obviously it did not work because the film was not intended for that type of outcome. It was intended for, dark. Snyder did it as Snyder did it. It was dark. Man of Steel was dark. Superman, Batman was dark. Justice League follow suit. This was dark, and you can't have it to where it kind of takes like a Marvel approach to it. It just doesn't work.
The negotiations with Netflix resulted in a compromise. While the streaming platform would get its PG-13 version, Snyder would also be able to release his original R-rated director's cut. So that was like a conversation that we just felt like based on their data that would be more viewable. And so I was like, okay, so that was part of the negotiation. I had written definitely an R-rated movie, and so it was a conversation like, hey, if we say yes, is there a way as a PG-13 version of this movie could happen? And I was like, absolutely. The director's cut of the two movies allowed Snyder to maintain an in-depth exploration of the narrative and characters, elements that had to be trimmed in the PG-13 version. Snyder communicated with his cast about the different cuts, ensuring that they understood what would be included in each version. The R-rated cut promises to stay true to Snyder's established storytelling style, offering fans a closer look at his original vision. Despite the compromises made for commercial viability, Snyder's creative vision for Rebel Moon remains largely intact. The director meticulously planned the different cuts, ensuring that the PG-13 versions met Netflix's requirements while the R-rated cuts retained the depth and
I don't understand where the Netflix come in here. Netflix, it's on HBO. I don't know anything about the Netflix. This is all new news to me. Maybe there was a deal with Netflix and it didn't go through, but I know HBO, everything's on HBO. So I'm just let him finish talking. He might say what the difference is.
intensity of his original script. And while his latest two movies have not performed as well as he would have hoped, the director's cuts did improve the overall experience and resulted in a darker, gorier narrative, the kind of which Snyder's fans are more accustomed to. All versions of the two Rebel Moon movies are available to be streamed on Netflix. Of course, the approach is not new for the director, who has previously released lauded directorial cuts of movies such as Justice League.
Okay, so I think that's what it is. That Rebel Moon was released on Netflix. Okay, I was thinking it was the Justice League, Superman, and all that other stuff. Okay, I'm corrected.
Watchmen, and now parts 1 and 2 of Rebel Moon. Despite two different versions of Rebel Moon being released, one scene from Watchmen seems to gain the top spot in his work for Zack Snyder. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Zack Snyder is one of the most fascinating directors in Hollywood right now. While his films are blockbuster-scale action epics, they get an extremely divisive response, and each project's acclaim differs. After hitting it out of the park with Army of the Dead, Snyder came back with a negatively received space opera Rebel Moon. Filmmaker Zack Snyder has some amazing visuals to boast of in his filmography, even if the films themselves have been divisive. Be it Superman's flight in Man of Steel or the incredible opening montage in Watchmen, the man knows how to create jaw-dropping imagery that turns superheroes into gods. While there are many to boast of, Snyder recently revealed what his favorite scene to shoot in the latest Rebel Moon films was. The filmmaker released an R-rated director's cut for both chapters of the space opera on Netflix and revealed that he was excited for fans to watch the R-rated version of his favorite scene in an interview with The Hollywood Handle. Snyder spoke about multiple details in the sci-fi film series and the upcoming projects in the franchise. Responding to a fan question about his favorite scene to shoot in Rebel Moon, he said, "Korra fighting the guys in the barn, killing all the Imperial guys in the barn. That felt old school. It was like old school fighting and shooting and really just going, shot to shot, and really telling that story was really fun. And I can't wait for you to see the R-rated version of it." The scene in question sees Korra, played by Sofia Boutella, barge into a barn where a group of Imperial soldiers are holding a few villagers hostage. Many fans criticized the scene for its overuse of slow motion and lack of blood. The two-part saga saw a Star Wars-inspired story of rebels who go against an intergalactic empire after their home world is threatened. Released.
Wow. Okay, so I guess that was it, but there was no explanation of why Zack Snyder was suing for $9.5 million. So I would honestly say it's almost like clickbaity. And if you're seeing it, then I don't know, because clickbait. Well, that's it for this one. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of the ages, thank you for checking out this reaction. That's all we have for this one. It's clickbaitable. Just told a story. But anyway, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, ciao.